Hey there, my name is Pravus and welcome back to more Hearts of Iron 4 No Step Back playing as the Soviet Union. We unfortunately lost the Civil War in Spain, but that's alright. We managed to steal all their Spanish gold anyway, so I think that's going to be fine. Next thing we're trying to do is continue keeping Stalin's paranoia at check, which we're going to probably want to do some satisfactory production supports here pretty soon, although this is about to go down a little bit more anyway. And we also really need to worry about some of our supply and keep getting up some of that army experience. I'll continue doing some of this over here, but like these guys over here against Finland, I just don't see this as being a very good place for us to continue to stay, because unfortunately we have effectively no supply in this area until we get some significant improvements in our supply chain. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and create a large fallback line like this. It's kind of stupid, but it's fine. All I want to do is take a lot of the units who are currently struggling and just move them out here and let them just take supply somewhere else. Let them just take some supply up somewhere else, so we're not losing quite as much as we are currently to attrition, because I'm kind of out of artillery. And that's not a good position to be in. We're going to want to have plenty more artillery. We could probably pull back a little bit on trucks, maybe a little bit more on fighters. That's kind of it, though. I do need to get some more military factories, but we've been focusing very heavily on trying to get our civilian economy back up, and it's doing the job. Like, we're getting there. We're making upgrades to our railroad, our infrastructure, and everything. Centralization and discipline is done. Now, I did a bit more reading on this war economy before I picked it up. This sounds really good, but notice the thing on the top. We will receive a stability penalty if the Soviet Union is not at war. And I looked into this, and what happens is, if you have a mobilized economy and you're not at war, you start getting a ticker over here that if you don't demobilize, you get strikes, and you lose a lot of stuff. Resource gain, factory output, etc. It's terrible. So the question is it still worth getting war economy, even though it causes a lot of problems? And the answer is, at least right now, probably not. So we're going to ignore some of that. Let's go ahead and address some internal affairs, get some stability going again. It's pretty darn low at the moment. And we're going to wait for this purge to end before I can move on. By the way, here's a ticker right here. It's been 114 days since I did my last purge. So there's the ticker. Now we have some idea when that's going to end. The problem is, I also did some checking on this in my own time. I don't think you can get rid of this guy at all until all of the Great Purge events are done. So, as much as I really want to get rid of that guy, don't think we can. I think it's just going to continue to be a problem for us for a while. Oh well. We're not going to get any more doctrines right now because we still have the disorganized and politicized military, and that's costing me an extra 20% or so in some of my stuff. I don't want to deal with any of that. Let's see. We could go very far ahead of time on some tank chassis. That sounds like fun, but probably not something I need right now. Let's go ahead and pick up the artillery. What did I just see here? Medium howitzers. Hello! We could upgrade our tanks with howitzer guns for soft attack. Ooh. That could be kind of sweet. All right. We've addressed internal affairs. Yay! Let's see. We can expand some groups, increasing the power of communism, more base stability, or add NKVD, which would increase paranoia, but get me an operative. Fun. Wait, would this literally just build my intelligence agency? Yeah, it's called NKVD. So here's the thing. I know that if we want to get down here to eventually assassinate Trotsky, we have to have an intelligence agency. I hate the idea of getting extra political paranoia, but like maybe this is a thing to do. It's a thought. It's a thought. God, there's a lot of things I want to get right now. I just can't. The threat from the rising sun. Japan's a thing. We can actually reconcile with Japan and try to use them to go and attack the USA, which may actually not even be a bad idea. How dost I get rid of... Ooh, Great Patriotic War. How do I get rid of the politicized military? The glory of the Red Army. Military political advisors. No, that's not what I want. I have no idea how you get it. No. Well, yes. No, I'm sorry. Replace politicized military with military political advisors. Yeah. So you get all the way down here, and we'll be able to start getting that, and we reduce the costs of doctrines. That's exciting. I think for now we're going to go for some infrastructure efforts and continue working on just improving our economy, at least for a little bit longer, but all right. We can get some new advisors from military high command, and these guys do get me army experience. So I guess we'll go for the extra recovery rate, and we'll just go ahead and just burn in an extra 0.25 military experience per day. We're going to need that to update a lot of my templates, as well as design some tanks, which we haven't done yet, and I guess I could show you how to design a tank, though I'm not sure I actually want to build any right now. We could just go ahead and look at it. Can't hurt to look, right? We will want things like maintenance companies at some point. I'm almost positive of that. Let's see, it's October 1937. Conversion speeds, we might actually take advantage of at some point, but for now, yeah, let's go ahead and research that maintenance company. We're gonna want that. So I'm not gonna build a tank yet, but let's just go ahead and take a look at the tank designer, because I think it's kind of fun. So we did unlock a medium tank chassis, right? That's something we now have. If we click here, we can create a new variant. And just like with the ships, we have all these different slots that we'll be able to fill in. And I think that the way that Paradox is doing this is they really want you to be able to build up some specialized tanks. So do you want to have, let's say, a medium tank chassis, but you focus heavily on, let's say, speed and armor, so it's designed exclusively to fill in, kind of like super motorized or mechanized, through broken through lines, right? You could do something like that, or you could make them slow with lots of heavy armor and just tons of piercing. You could do that, right? I think at the end of the day, we still want to focus mostly on things like breakthrough and soft attack. That's going to be important, but the other stat that you really have to keep in mind is reliability, and this is where a lot of the trade-off occurs with these tanks. You can have random failures if you don't have reliability. You can suffer more attrition. Weather is worse for tanks that don't have a lot of reliability. I think reliability also impacts, let's say, how likely it is to take critical damage and have to get repaired, like that kind of a thing, right? Low reliability means, yeah, you have a lot of tanks, and you spent all this production costs on them, but then you broke them down, and now you have to fix them, and that sucks. So we want to keep this high, but there's a balancing act between all the other stats and reliability. So let's say I wanted to go with some sort of an armament, right? We have small armaments. We could have, let's say, automatic cannons, which is worth a pretty decent amount of soft attack, some piercing, but it reduces speed and reliability, right? And then take a look at that production cost, 2.5. Some of these things are more expensive than others. A machine gun is super duper cheap. It doesn't impact my reliability and speed, but we don't get quite as much in the way of stats, right? These are the kind of trade-offs that we're going to have to make. The close support gun gets a load of soft attack, but look how expensive it is. Is that something you want, right? So we'd have to make a decision. Let's suppose we wanted to go with a medium cannon, or we could go for a heavy cannon, but notice this says you can't do it because guess what? We're on a medium chassis. Unless we went to the turret and said, tell you what, I'm going to get a fixed superstructure, right, that can't like properly rotate around, and then we'd be able to add on a heavy armament. So a heavy gun on a medium tank. Is that the sort of thing you might want? Look how much piercing value we get. Also, look how many more resources it would take, right? These are the kind of things that you have to kind of figure out. Do you want these or not? So let's suppose we went with a medium gun. Let's suppose we wanted to go with a turret. Now, a one-man turret is pretty cheap, but reduces its attack stats because only one person can focus on this, and guess what? It's hard to control a tank with one person also manning the gun. 3 men, very good for breakthrough, but more expensive. 2 man, a little less breakthrough, but also a little bit cheaper. Then we have modules. A radio, I think, is kind of a must. Extra defense and breakthrough is just always going to be good for me. Then you have special modules. You want more machine guns for a little bit of extra stats. Extra ammunition, but you lose reliability. Smoke launchers for some defense. Sloped armor, 10% extra production cost, 20% more armor. So if you're going for a very armor-focused tank, this could be a very worthwhile thing for you. You get a lot of value out of it. Wet ammunition, improve the reliability, right? These are things you could do. Or maybe you want to get some turrets. Heavy machine guns reduces reliability, but you get a little bit more soft attack and stuff. Cannons reduces armor, and if you're not going for an armor build, okay, maybe that's fine with you because you get a lot of extra stats, right? These are the kind of things you have to decide. What do you want to do? Then we also have suspension. These all do different things. This is cheap. This is more expensive but increases speed. This is more expensive but improves reliability. This is more expensive and improves breakthrough at the cost of reliability. All right, so let's say we did that to get some more reliability here. Then there's armor, cast armor. Defense breakthrough, 50% armor, but it costs 20% more to produce. Riveted armor, less armor, but cheap. It makes the whole tank cheaper to work with. That could be nice. Or welded, which is kind of the best of both worlds. Not more expensive, but you get a pretty good amount of armor out of it. Then there's going to be engines. Diesel engines are reliable. Gasoline engines are not reliable, but they're fast. Petrol electric engines are weird. Terrible reliability, but you get an extra 15% breakthrough, which is kind of nice. So I mean, meh, You know, what do you want there? Gasoline engine. Sure, we could do that for now. And then you have a couple other stats down here. We can increase the thickness of the armor, and you can see that's increasing my armor value up to 4 right now. Unless we research upgrades for armor, then we can increase it even further. But the more we do this, the more we're slowing down the tank and the less reliability we have. Then we increase the engine. We can build this up to 10. Again, upgrading the engine lets you put in more slots here. So we're reducing our reliability, but we're gonna go a lot faster, right? So these are the kind of things you can do with the tank. And then you can decide what kind of an equipment tag you have. And this actually can be relevant when you're building your tank divisions because you can specify which tag you want to put in your divisions depending on what you're trying to do. I'm not building a tank right now. All that exists just to show you how it works. An anti-saboteur campaign. Air accidents for a year. All right, well, at least it's a temporary measure, and it's going to go ahead and burn down some of that paranoia for a little bit longer, so okay. We'll have to do some of that. Ugh. Ugh. Not a fan of a lot of this stuff. The Chinese United Front. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be joining up against Japan going forward, which does make sense. Of course they're going to. The Politburo is actually giving me quite a few really nice bonuses right now. I like these guys. These guys are good. These guys are really good. Do we want to get even more army experience going? I mean, probably. Probably? Sure, load up on it. Why not? Because the more experience I have, the more I can change my templates, the more doctrines I can get, and the better tanks I can get. Finish the 5-year plan. Do this, we'd be able to get a new advisor, who I don't think I care that much about. We would get 2 more civilian factories. That's pretty good. But I think we can now go for military conspiracy, because it's only been 2 days since the last purge ended. And now we'll be able to start working toward the assassination of Trotsky and try to deal with the whole Great Purge event. I mean, really, I think a lot of the early game is just going to be trying to get rid of the Great Purge. And that was true before this expansion came out, right? Figuring out how to get rid of that Great Purge really early on was super duper important. By the way, we're not getting, like, any supply over here in Mongolia, so we probably should not keep these guys over here, should we? Why can't I see your front lines? Why is this all weird? I don't know, but it can't. It's weird and I don't like it. Go ahead and move you guys over here for now. Just get out of Mongolia or something. I don't know. Frick. We don't like any of that. Terrible supply over here. We can go ahead and pull you back a little bit to a region that's not so bad on supply, and the rest of these guys are doing okay. We'll go ahead and continue training over here, I guess, as long as we can keep some supply. Gosh, the artillery is just falling apart. Not doing great on tanks either, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I need to stop training quite this much for a second. We need to figure out our logistics. So, if everyone stops with this, where am I still taking lots of attrition? I have to be taking attrition somewhere, right? Is it over here? Yeah, it's over here. At least part of it is. Let's go ahead and pull, like, half of you off and move you here. Just go somewhere else. Stop taking up all the attrition, just move. All right, military conspiracy. We have a new Great Purge. We're going to be getting rid of a whole load of generals. Yep, also 5 army leaders will get the trait Cowed by Stalin, which makes them worse. Yikes. And yeah, you can see here that the supply still struggles to keep track of all these guys. Fighting on the east is going to be rough unless we're willing to build a lot of railroads. Lost our field marshals. Okay, we'll go ahead and pick these guys up, even though they're probably not very good. Behead the snake. Okay, so we want to do that. I will need to get my intelligence agency. This would reduce paranoia by a bit. If I do this, I'll increase paranoia, but I think we just have to accept that for now. So let's go ahead and start getting that. Yeah. And also that just saves me 5 civilian factories for a month, so we don't have to worry about that too much. How are we doing on building supply points? Supply points are expensive. They cost like 2 civilian factories level. So getting supply up here by Finland is actually kind of an expensive investment. I still am hoping that it's the right thing to do, just because I know we're gonna have a conflict with Finland and I want to be ready for it. But yeah, there's a nationalist victory. You guys had that a while ago. Also, the anarchists never actually fired, which is one of the reasons we also lost. We didn't distract the nationalists as much as I would have liked. Something went weird on that one. Something really weird. Excavation means more resources for me. Hopefully we can trade more of that off. In the meantime, what else do we want to work on? Logistics, I have to feel like, are better than usual. Supply usage reduction is just so good. We can start building trains, by the way. That would be a thing. Do I care about the heavy chassis? Probably not. I don't think we care about heavy tanks. I don't think we're ever going to get to use those. We could go for the welded armor. We're going to need this at some point. I can use up one of my ahead-of-time bonuses just to knock this out real quick. And we'll go ahead and do that, I suppose. I want to save one of them, though, so I can get ahead of time on medium chassis, because I have to imagine that's going to be really good. All right, paranoia is high. Let's go ahead and do behead the snake. Can I... Yes, I can falsify some reports and bring this back down. It's still above 25%, which isn't good, but the higher it is, the worse, more likely bad things happen, so the more we keep it down, the better. I could risk another purge of some sort. 75% chance of disloyalty in the NKVD. It's probably not good. Conspiracy in the Academy. See, I don't like that one. I feel like that one's a permanent penalty that you hate. This is all terrible. How long is it going to be until this next one? I mean, I think we just have to eat this for a bit. I feel like we're just gonna have things happen, and I may have no control over which ones are which, but oh well. We'll just have to live with it for a bit. There's some upgrades to the artillery. Okay, so now we can get upgrades for my tanks with howitzer guns. That's gonna be fun. We already have upgrades for our submarines. We should be producing submarines at some point. I don't care about improved torpedo launchers if they only affect things like light ships and cruisers. We don't care about that. Yeah, forget that right now. Do we go for more resource gain? No. I'm gonna go ahead and start researching that radio detection. I actually think that radio might be more important than it used to be. I think coordination's gonna be really important. It means you can have those really large, powerful divisions and they focus their fire. If they're not focusing their fire, then what's the point? Right, what's the point of having 40 combat with divisions, if you even want those these days anymore anyway? 36 might be the way to go. I don't know, I'm looking forward to finding out what people find out is the meta. Anschluss just occurred, there we go. I want to know what people think is going to be the meta of this game, and someone's going to crunch the numbers, and it's going to be really good for me to see, because I need help. I need help knowing what's good, because I don't know. Alright, so let's go ahead and work on the 5-year plan. Let's finish this sucker out. There we go. And let's take a look at decisions. So, where's my option? We did not actually get the agency. Huh? Alright, fine. We have to build the NKVD. I thought we were going to get this for free based on what I saw here, but I guess not. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Alright, we learned something. It said add NKVD, but I guess it's just a national spirit instead. Yeah, that's all it is. All right, it's just a national spirit. It doesn't get me the intelligence agency. Never mind. Fine. All right, what else do we want to do? Well, I'm going to research logistics companies. Now, I will say, not having to tie up one of my research slots on Doctrines Forever is such a great change to the game, because I always felt like you never really had enough research slots to do everything. You had to completely forego the Navy, and maybe also the Air Force, in order to stay on top of things, depending on how many slots you had. And that just didn't feel very fun. It felt like you were missing out on a big chunk of the game. But now with the doctrines being removed, I think it's a lot more balanced and a lot more fun. Planes in reserve, fun. All right, so we're done with that. Now we can go to the intelligence agency. So I'm going to start recruiting some spies, and it looks like I have to actually use the proper espionage stuff. I thought it was going to be a decision. It does not appear to be a decision. That's interesting. We actually are going to have to use our spies. Hey, good on Paradox for making espionage like an actual requirement. I appreciate that. Big time I appreciate that. That's great. How are we doing on civilian factories? Well, we've almost got 3 full lines. That's pretty solid. Do we continue building more civilian factories? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Keep doubling up on some of this, dang it. And then after that, maybe we want to go ahead and focus on getting our military factories up and running. I am worried about not having a lot of equipment, but we got at least another couple of years or so before I'm going to have to worry about fighting Germany, right? That said, I don't know, 1938, that's about the point where you want to stop. Maybe we do want to start focusing on some military factories now. That might be the case. Maybe we do. Yeah, I think we do actually start focusing on military factories here. We'll finish out what I've got now. That'll be a pretty good amount of civilian factories, but yeah, then we start working on militaries. It's time. All right, we have a spy. You're from Hungary. Anyone from Mexico? Yes, you'll do. Mexican nationality. I think it'll make it a little bit harder for him to be detected. Let's go ahead and spy in Mexico City. This just feels a little bit wrong. Conspiracy in the Academy again. Gosh dang you. Look at this. It lasts for so long. Support unit research speed minus 25%? No. God, it's horrible, dude. Your paranoia is going to get us all killed, Stalin. I'm not even kidding. Frick. Let's do a thing in the Navy. It's going to take a few days, but all right. What else do we want to research? Well, close air support. We don't have the production for it yet, but if I don't have close air support, I'm going to feel like an idiot later. When can we do this? We have another 35 days before I can do this. So we need something that takes only 35 days to do. Railway network? No. Okay, here's something we can do. So we can either go for national specialists, which reduces industrial concern costs, which is the government reform. So that gets cheap. And then we can either do a tractor factory, an industrial institute, or a railway. Or we go for foreign experts. And what this does is let us get a construction company, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get some options to schmooze up to other countries in the world, including the UK, America, Germany, and so on. And they can send us advisors that start getting us permanent bonuses to the rest of it. So I think we're gonna go for the foreign experts. That's 35 days. After that, there's the conspiracy. Good Lord, I hate this so much. That's gonna give us the 35 days we need to work on the block of rights and Trotskyites, which will end political paranoia. Yep, political paranoia will be removed from the game. Why does it say here that paranoia increases by 2 weekly if it's gonna be gone? I don't know, but maybe it's gone after, you know what, maybe it's gone after the 170 days following that great purge. I'm not sure. Regardless, getting rid of that will be good. Then I can focus, finally, on rebuilding a proper military. But I'm feeling pretty decent about at least our economical game. I feel like we got at least a decent economy going into this. Another spy? Sure. What do we got here? Let's go for a UK spy? Yeah, all right. He's a double agent. Sure, that'll work. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's spy further on Mexico. So we'll start building up that spy network a little bit faster. And then subtle assassination is what I want. I do not have 25% spy network. We're working on that, though. And then we can raid his villa. He's been holed up in his villa, corresponding with other party members to plot against him. Send a small team to attack his house and put it to an end. So I think both of these have a chance of killing. This one takes 270 days. This only takes 60 days. But you need a lot more spy network. Okay. So let's wait 1 day. Now we can go for this. With that done, we can focus on so many other things. So do we think it's worth going for the subtle assassination? Subtle would be great, frankly. There's a good chance this will work. Yeah. I think this is probably still the better way to go. Let's just go ahead and do a subtle assassination, and there's a good chance this works. If it doesn't, I'm going to feel really freaking stupid, but we're going to try for that. This guy no longer needs to be here because we've already got all the spy network that I needed. So let's go ahead and start spying on, let's say, the Germans, and maybe we start stealing some blueprints at some point. I don't know. Steal some German tank recipes. That'll be good, right? Heck yeah, that'll be really good. We're going to purge out the final right wing, quote-unquote right wing, of the Communist Party within the Soviet Union, and that'll get me a lot more stability. So how are we doing on the army experience? We're only gaining 0.28 per day. That's still pretty decent all in all. What's this, a demolition expert? That's pretty good. Propaganda stage coups. I could see that being useful. And then diplomatic pressure and stuff. If there was somebody who was good at stealing stuff, like a safe cracker, that would probably be good, but I think not. So we're gonna go for the boost ideology effect. And let's just go ahead and spy on as much of Germany as we can. For now, and hopefully it doesn't end up being an issue. And then before we go too crazy, finally understaffed bureaucracy is gone. Let's go ahead and get the suicide pills. Because, I mean, I don't want to take that risk. So with understaffed bureaucracy done, these guys get back to being affordable. So that'll be huge. I'm going to want to have 150 political power when we eventually are done with these great purges so I can get rid of this guy. He's terrible. It's just terrible. I just don't see the point. Now, granted, one of his problems of whispering lies in Stalin's ear, I mean, that's going to be ended pretty soon anyway, but still. Let's go for that research speed. I kind of forgot that that was a thing right now. We should definitely have had that going sooner. All right. 53% paranoia. Ah! No longer get the effects of seized Spanish gold. Yeah, that sucks. We're about to lose a lot, actually. Civilian factories. That 5% was pretty significant. But oh well, it's fine. We still took a pretty good advantage of that. We got a lot of extra supply and so on. Speaking of supply, so indeed we do now have this supply hub. Supply connection from the capital is 15, but each individual province has a certain amount available. Still, now we actually can field some troops up against Finland if we wanted to. And that's kind of cool. So, whoa. Edit the line. There we go. And let's go ahead and just let them spread out a little bit. And let's just kind of see what happens with this. So is it perfect? No. Is this a lot better than it was before? Yes. This is way better. This is all red before. All of it. Oh, that's pretty great, actually. Okay. So what's your issue? You have the range, we just don't have the supply, apparently. Tanks take up too much supply, is what I'm getting out of this. Which doesn't surprise me, I suppose. Tanks would be the hardest to take care of. So what's going to happen with this block of Rights and Trotskyites being removed? Start another great purge, and that'll end it. That'll end it all. The investigations before the Second Moscow trial also revealed a large network of Trotskyites in the military and upper party leadership led by Bukharin. These people must have been arrested and interrogated. They confessed the most serious and heinous of crimes, from planned sabotage to attempted assassination. If convicted, the penalty would be very serious. So a bunch of people are about to die. Fortunately, none of the guys that I wanted to keep. Can I finally get rid of you? Ah! Dang it all, the heck fire. Alright, so that's all done. Now we have to wait until this great purge is done. Also, in order to go for Stalin's cult of personality, we have to go for expand the agitprop, which is this thing right here. So this would unlock some new decisions. That could be fun. Let's go ahead and pick that up. So the cult of personality will be the next stage after we're done dealing with the political paranoia stuff. And this will let me just literally start getting a whole bunch of positive modifiers on Stalin until he becomes ridiculously good. Like, ridiculously good. Loosen prohibitions in the military academies. Oh! So we can do this, and this would actually get back all of our anti-academy thinking. Oh, okay, so we can get back some of this stuff. It's not actually permanent. Well, thank God for that, am I right? Yeah. Yeah, I'm right. I do wonder if getting some additional air experience would be very smart. Is this worth getting right now? Yeah, I think it is. I want to start building up some passive air experience, so I'll be able to continue working down that. Because, in my personal opinion, the land game and the air game are the most important in this. I mean, Navy's obviously great too, but like, come on, Navy's confusing. Everyone thinks Navy's confusing, am I right? It's not quite 1939. Fire control methods, mine warfare, don't need any of that right now. Although, I mean, there's something to be said about mining the crud out of the area around St. Petersburg. Though it's not called that anymore, I suppose. I don't think we're going to end up going for the proper meta of light cruisers. I just don't see that happening. Let's go ahead and get some additional resources we'll be able to trade out. We are exporting a pretty hefty amount of oil and steel, which is getting me a fair number of extra factories from trade. We're getting 10. 10 factories from trade. That's pretty good. And we're now starting to finally get some additional military factories. All right, so let's prioritize here. What do we want? We know that we've had a lot of issues with artillery, but that finally is back on track. We're gonna need to work on some additional light tanks just to get my light tank divisions back under control. So let's focus on this first and foremost. We're pretty much back on track as far as getting all my reinforcements and everything else, and upgrades we'll be working on pretty soon too. Anti-air, I can see that being useful. A violent era for our union. Yeah, fair enough. I am curious, by the way, how much soft attack does the howitzer give? Basic medium chassis. No, that's not what we were looking for. What is this? Did they just give me like a free tank design or something? They might have. Huh. So what is this gun? Medium howitzer. Hello. 25 soft attack, minus 20% reliability though. But that's a pretty great amount of soft attack, and it has a lot less piercing than a proper cannon, but we may not need it. Now the thing is, against the Germans, I know that piercing is going to matter. We need anti-tank. So I would say go for the howitzers for a lot of other folks. Maybe go for raw breakthrough and soft attack, but yeah, maybe not. The Germans have demanded the Sudetenland. All right. It's kind of normal. Collectivist propaganda would get me manpower, recruitable population, recovery, and stability. We can then go for production efficiency and research speed, not to mention socialist realism. Pretty good. Or positive heroism, which gets me a couple of new advisors, including a really good armor advisor, factory output, war heroes, field marshals. The Komsomol propaganda campaigns. This is something for the Soviets as well. We could try unlocking that. Should we unlock propaganda for fun? Or should we instead get over here and start developing this stuff for civilian factories and then work toward more research slots? I mean, research slots are kind of hard to say no to, right? Yeah. I think that's technically the higher priority, but it's kind of close. So propaganda is a thing we'll be able to do at some point. I think their decisions are something along those lines. But, oh, what's this? Hey, cool. But what they do is, it's actually from this, right here. Propaganda posters that will allow us to basically start getting some new tailored benefits for the country, and we'll swap out propaganda based on what we need. We will accomplish a high yield. So, consumer goods for 15... Are you kidding me? It increases in cost every time you use this, but for 15 political power, I can get 5% consumer goods reduction? Holy frick, do that. Yes. What else we have here? We'd be able to get some additional resources for only 180 days. That doesn't seem that great. Oil for fuel. Transport is the sibling of the Red Army. Supply consumption. Factory output. Division organization. Defend Moscow. Probably only good if we're actually, like, in immediate danger. Victory is at hand, and the motherland calls. Manpower. Weekly manpower, even. Wow. Yeah, some of these are pretty powerful. I'm happy to have just this for right now, because that extra consumer goods is kind of significant. That should get me at least another, like, I think 5 or so civilian factories. We're at 125 factories already. 86 civilians, pretty good. So our economy's looking fine. I think now is the point where we start transitioning as hard as we can into military factories and start prepping for war, because that is well on its way. All right, well, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If so, I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.